Hi everyone, it's Emily, and today I'll be sharing my March pickups. And I'm posting this slightly early because I'm not really anticipating too many more games to trickle in before April 1st comes around. So to start with, I'm going to share two quick unboxings for two games that are some of my most highly anticipated 2023 releases. So the first limited edition that arrived this month was The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure. And this is the PS4 limited edition that I got off of NAS America. It's a beautiful box. I like this box actually more than Trails to Zero. I thought that they did a really good job with this sturdy box. Still have this game sealed, so I will do a little unboxing of what it looks like inside. And so this will look just like the standard editions that are still readily available. So inside we have the hardcover archive book, which just has a lot of main character and additional character illustrations and descriptions, as well as some other nice illustrations included in the back. And they also have part 2 of their Anthems of Crossbell CD with 10 tracks on it. So unfortunately this and also part 1 in the Trails from Zero limited edition do not make up the entire Crossbell soundtrack. There are a couple tracks that are still missing, but nevertheless I'm happy to still have this. And there's also a cloth poster made with the same material as the one that was included in the Trails from Zero package. And so here it just has the same portrait that's on the cover of the limited edition. And since I already had this on display on my bookshelves previously, I already constructed the acrylic stand that it comes with. So we got more characters added, and it actually connects the one that comes in the Zero package, either this way, or you could also connect them this way, which I think is a nice touch. And then last but not least, it also came with this nice steel book, which nicely matches with the other steel book that came in the other collector's edition for Zero. So the Trails series is one that I am willing to double dip on, so I also got the standard Switch edition. And the interior looks very similar to the PS4 one and includes the case files as well as the reversible cover art. Now, similar to previous entries in the Trail series, there is a save crossover where if you play the previous entry in a game, your save state will cross over to the new one. So you could carry over some items and things like that. So that's why I'm going to be playing Trails to Azure on the Switch here. Because I played Trails from Zero on the Switch as well. So basically the main reason why I went with the PS4 version for this collector's edition is just so that the steelbook cases would match up, along with my other ones from the Cold Steel games and Trails from Zero. So I'm really looking forward to diving into Trails to Azure very soon. I'm hoping to start it this weekend after I wrap up the other game I'll be talking about shortly. But Trails from Zero ended up being my game of the year last year, so I have very high expectations that I will just love Trails to Azure, because I hear this is one of the best entries in the Trails series, and I just can't wait to dive back into this world again with all these different characters and kind of see how things lead up to the Cold Steel games in the whole entire Trails universe. Now, I've spoken on this a few times on the channel already, but I'll mention this again for anyone who's new to the Trails series. I think the Crossbell duology is a great place to start. There's so many different arcs, and it can get quite intimidating with how many different entries there are in the Legend of the Heroes Trails series. But I think a really good entry point is starting with Trails from Zero. Definitely don't skip to Trails to Azure. You're going to get a little confused of what's going on, but Trails from Zero is a really good entry point to kind of dip your toes into the series and see how you like it, and if you want to become more invested in this very long, epic JRPG series. Now, the other collector's edition that I'll be unboxing today arrived in the mail just yesterday, and that is Atelier Ryza 3. So this has been preoccupying my time for the last week and a half or so. So this is actually the first game that I've received a review code from a publisher before. And I was really excited when I received the Switch code for this game. Though it was pretty short notice. I wasn't really expecting a code at the time. They gave me, I think, 5 days before launch. So I got a little bit of a head start, and I'm almost done with the game right now. So I'm hoping to have a full review for you guys by the end of this week. So if anyone is curious about how Ryza 3 is and how it compares to the previous games in the series, I'll be sure to have all the details there. But I did purchase this premium box edition on my own, and I'm really happy to finally have it and display it. So prior to this, I only have the special edition for Atelier Ryza in the series, so I'm really happy that Ryza 3 is my next premium box or limited edition for the series. So it is rather flimsy here, which is unfortunate, but I have a really good place on my shelf where I'll be displaying this box in all of its glory. But it just opens, and we have the Switch game, which I will unwrap for you guys. And it also comes with a cute acrylic keychain. There is a code for the marine look at Crick Shore costume. There's an insert that isn't necessary, but probably helps it keep its shape. And then we also have a nice art book, which is also a hardcover, though it is quite thin, unfortunately. So I don't have the previous Ryza premium boxes to compare, but it's interesting how inside it's all in Japanese and not translated to English, which I feel like is a little strange for a Western release. But this premium box is actually made by Koei Tecmo and not NIS America. So I think NIS America was just distributing this collector's edition in North America. So that might explain why we're not seeing a translation in our book. But there's a lot of nice character designs of all the various party members, as well as some image boards of various places that you could explore in Ryza 3. And there's also a nice big cloth poster here. So this does not have quite that same satiny finish as the Trails to Azure cloth poster. It's much larger, and it has that same image with Ryza and the seagull that's on the cover of the premium box. And then the last item that's included are a set of clear files. And so these are very popular in Japan. They usually are used to hold paper, document things. So the first one has that same seagull cover art photo and Atelier Ryza on the back. The other one has Ryza and all her different party members. And that's everything that's included in the box. And it is quite pricey compared to what NIS America typically has for their collector's edition. But again, this was a Koei Tecmo product, and NIS America, I think, was just distributing it. But yeah, I think there was like a $40 difference between the Trails to Azure and the Ryza 3 premium boxes. So yeah, if I were to compare these two collector's editions, I do think the Trails to Azure one was better in terms of just overall quality and the amount of items you receive in there, and also the price point. I think it was just $80 to $90 range, whereas the Ryza 2 was like $120. But despite the Ryza 3 probably being not as great value compared to the other collector's edition, I do think Ryza 3 is a great game. Overall, I do think it's an improvement from the previous two games in many aspects. There are a few flaws that I will mention in my review, so do look forward to that. But overall, I think it's a wonderful game and a fantastic way to conclude this epic trilogy. So those are my main two pickups for this past month, but I do have a couple more games to share before I end here. These first two are Switch games that finally arrived after, I think I ordered these from Limited Run like last May. So it's coming on to almost a year, but this is sort of typical for them and what you really should expect whenever you do place an order with a company like Limited Run Games. But the main game that I guess held up this order was Azure Striker Gunvolt 3. So I've heard really good things about the Azure Gunvolt series, and I did get a little bit FOMO and bought the third one prior to playing the first two, which are available on the 3DS as well as on the Switch. And I hear that these are sort of like a modern version of the Mega Man games, where you have a 2D side-scrolling shooter with different kind of platforming mechanics. So I'll admit, FOMO did kind of get to me when picking this up, because I did hear this was a really fun series, and I've been meaning to pick up the double pack on the Switch. This is not a limited run numbered game. This is distributed through Limited Run Games, so I imagine this is probably going to also end up on their Amazon storefront if it's not there already. So in retrospect, I did sort of jump the gun in ordering this without playing the other two games prior, but hopefully that this will kind of kick me into start trying this genre of game to see how I like them. So along with that game, I also ordered the Mercenaries Blaze, Dawn of the Twin Dragons. And so this is another entry into the Mercenary series, which is a strategy RPG. I believe they have mobile versions. Some of the earlier games were on the 3DS. So I have a little nasty habit where I kind of scoop up all the SRPGs on the Switch whenever I find them. And the Mercenaries games is one of those. I do hear that they do play pretty well. They're rather simplistic, but as the series has progressed, they become more interesting. There's actually a new one that's coming out, I believe, in June or July of this year that I'm probably going to pick up as well. Though I'm wondering if they're also going to combine games 4 through 6 in sort of a trilogy pack like they did with the first 3 games. So I don't know if I really need to have them individually, if that's going to be the case, but I guess I just can't help myself, and I like buying strategy RPGs whenever I can. So someday I'm actually going to give these games a try. Will that be anytime this year? That's really hard to say. I feel like my schedule's already packed full with all of these new releases I'm highly anticipating, as well as the rest of my backlog. But nevertheless, I'm happy to add another SRPG to my collection, and I'm considering pre-ordering the new one coming out, but we'll see. Now the last game I'm going to be sharing today is one I've been meaning to pick up for the longest time, but I hadn't because it was a PS5 exclusive game, and I don't have a PS5. I still have money set aside for one. The main thing that's been holding me back is I don't have a nice monitor to play PlayStation games on right now. When I moved earlier this month, I didn't bring a nice monitor with me. So I still need to kind of do some research and search for a nice one. That will, I think, work out nicely with the PS5. So once I figure that out and I could carve out a nice chunk of time, I'll hopefully start playing these games. April is looking like a really good time for me to actually start diving into the PS5, so don't be surprised if you guys see an unboxing or some sort of video related to that next month. But the game that I think I want to first play on the PS5 that I picked up on sale is Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Now, I haven't brought this up on the channel too often yet, but I have a very strong emotional attachment to all the PS2 era 3D action platformer games, and Ratchet & Clank is one of my favorite series on the PS2. I unfortunately skipped the PS3 era, so I didn't play the games that were available on there, but I'm really excited to jump into Rift Apart once my PS5 arrives and finally get to experience kind of all the nostalgia I have for the Ratchet & Clank series again, and kind of see how things have maybe changed since my memories of all the PS2 games from so long ago. But yeah, this is one of the biggest PS5 exclusive games right now. You could still grab it for a decent price on sale. I got this for, I think, $25-ish, which is pretty good. You could typically see this, I think, around $30 on sale. But yeah, I'm really excited to get back into PlayStation again. Last year, basically the Switch and the 3DS dominated my playing time, but there's so much nostalgia and great games on the PlayStation systems I've been missing out on. And now that I finally kind of have a space to play these games, before it was really hard for me to play the TV kind of console games because there just wasn't room in my previous living situation to play them much. But I have a nice area carved out for a monitor, and I'm really excited to kind of get back into the home console side of gaming that I've been missing for quite some time. So those were all of my March pickups, and for April, I don't have too many pre-orders on the way. I do have a few things that I've picked up from Mercari and eBay that haven't arrived yet, and I don't think will be arriving until next week that I'll be sharing. But outside of that, I don't have any new releases that I've pre-ordered yet. I did actually pick up the Switch OLED Tears of the Kingdom model that I'm really excited about. I'm still slightly iffy about the Joy-Con coloring, but I figured if I don't really like those, I could just switch them out for the standard white Joy-Cons, or maybe the Hori Zelda ones with the D-pad. But I'm really excited to finally upgrade my Switch Lite to one that's dockable, and to play on a nice monitor or on handheld, and on the nice OLED screen. So I'll probably do an unboxing for that. I don't know if it'll be just in a regular pickups video or its own separate video, but it's really exciting to have that finally coming, along with the game collector's edition in May. And I will also be posting a what I've been playing recently video. It's gonna be, I guess, now quarterly rather than monthly, since I skipped the last couple months of what I've been playing. But I will be talking extensively about all these games here, along with some others. And of course, Ryza 3, which will have its own review sometime soon. So let me know if you also picked up something exciting for March or have anything pre-ordered for April. And also, how do you feel about the Zelda OLED model? Do you like the design, or do you think the colorway is a little bit kind of odd, either with the OLED model or the Pro controller and the kind of white grip they added on there? But that's everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until my next one, bye guys.